So there are so many hidden elements of Dragon's Dogma 2 that are so easy to miss. Millions of players out there are going to follow the main story and not realize that there's all this other cool content to play. And to me, one of the most enjoyable hidden quest lines that I've played so far, as well as definitely one of the most rewarding, is the hidden Sphinx riddles. And so today I'm going to show you guys everything you need to know to complete these riddles. Now it's worth noting before we get into any of this can be very finicky in that if you fail one of these, you may never be able to get a second chance. And so what I will say before starting any of this is that you should rest at an inn right before you go and do this, as well as then just manually saving regularly along the way. Now, resting in an inn counts as a different save file, so it's essentially a backup, and trust me, you very much want to do so before you start any of these. I almost failed the entire thing and would have never been able to finish it had I not done this step. So pay that 2,000 to sleep at an inn somewhere. It is absolutely worth it. Now, the first step to start this quest is obviously just getting to the Sphinx in the first place. So what you want to do is you want to head to the checkpoint rest town. From there, you want to head to the ancient battlegrounds, which you can see here on the map. Just take a detour on the left of the main road out of checkpoint rest town, and you pretty much can't miss it. Now, once you arrive there is a dragon, and I would dare say it's probably worth avoiding unless you obviously want to take it down. So if you do want to avoid it, just hug the wall on the left and then head up this hill, up the pathway here and into the castle. Now from there, just take out these skeletons, or to be honest, you can just run past them as well. If you want to head up here to the left and up this winding staircase and then up the ladder to get above ground. Now from here, if you have been here before, you may have a ladder already on this wall right next to you. If that is there, then just obviously use that. If not, don't worry, just head over to this next hole in the ground, go down that ladder, and then just follow this path that I'm showing here, going up a few stairs and then up to another winding staircase, which will lead you to another ladder, and then you will end up in that same spot anyway. So once you're up here, if you haven't knocked it down already, just knock that ladder down in case you ever need to use it in the future, because that is definitely a time saver. Now from there, you want to head up these stairs. If you've not been here before, there will be a Cyclops guarding some items, so just take him out, loot him and the chest that he was guarding for some really good warrior items. After that, head up this ladder to the left and through the broken wall, and then head into this cave. Now from here, it is pretty much impossible to get lost. You will eventually come to a point where it kind of feels like a dead end. Just keep an eye out for this breakable boulder, because that's blocking the way. And then again, from there, it is kind of impossible to get lost. It's worth just kind of running through this cave because there's a bunch of ghosts in there and they're just not very fun to fight at all. Eventually, you'll make it out of the cave to where you'll come across this golem. Again, it's up to you whether you want to fight it or not. And then after that golem, you can just continue along that same path and you will eventually make it out to this awesome view. From there, just head up those stairs and you are finally at the Sphinx. Now, honestly, that is one of the hardest parts of this whole quest, so you are well on your way once you've made it here to the Sphinx. Once you arrive, there are 5 riddles that you can do, and once you complete these 5, the Sphinx will fly away to a second location, so we'll obviously get to that after these 5 riddles. The first riddle you want to do is the Riddle of Eyes, and this one is a bit of a pain in the ass if you don't know what to do, but luckily for you guys, I made the mistake, and so you guys won't have to do that. Once you start this quest, she will open up this door into a cave, and you just need to go and retrieve an item in there. Now, my dumbass went in looking around for ages. Turns out, as soon as you enter the cave, just turn around and you can see a chest right above the doorway. So just climb up, take the item from the chest and bring it back to her. Choose that Riddle of Eyes option again, and you will pass. She'll open up that chest behind her, and in there you will get a free wakestone. The next riddle is the Riddle of Madness. This one is very, very simple. Once she's done talking, literally just go and pick up your main pawn, place them on the altar, and then talk to the Sphinx again. You'll pass, and she will open up another chest, and this one has got a port crystal in it, which is obviously very, very handy. Now, even though it's not the next in order, the next riddle you should do is the Riddle of Conviction, just because it kind of makes sense after the last one. So yeah, skip the Riddle of Wisdom for now, even though that is obviously not the order you would probably assume. Now, in this riddle, she will ask you to give her a precious item. Don't worry, she won't keep it. Instead, she will actually duplicate it for you, and once you pass that test, the next chest will open. So yeah, give her the port crystal. Once you pass, you will then open that chest and you will get 2 port crystals instead of 1. So like I said, this one is easy as can be, and it is very rewarding as well. Next up is the Riddle of Wisdom, and this one actually requires you to leave the Sphinx's shrine and head out into the open world. Now, because of that, it is worth putting one of those port crystals here, just so you can get back here easily, because obviously that path that we took to get here is kind of frustrating. So yeah, chuck one of those port crystals at the bottom of that staircase. Now for this riddle, what you'll need to do is head back to the checkpoint rest town and then head along the main path to this bend in the road here. It's probably worth putting a mark here just so you know exactly where it is. Now on that path, you'll come to a building on the side of the road. There will be a couple of human enemies here, so just take them out and then head into this riftstone that you can find inside the building. And what you need to do is hire a pawn by a specific name. Now in her riddle, she mentioned about her longing for parents. So what you want to do is hire any of these pawns that are called Sphinx Parent, Sphinx Mother, or Sphinx Father. Any of those three will do, so just hire one of them and then head back to the shrine. Once you're there, similar to one of the last riddles, just pick that pawn up, take them to the altar and speak to the Sphinx, and you'll pass that test. In the chest, you can find 1200 rift coins. Now, lastly, for these first 5, we have the Riddle of Rumination, and I won't lie, boys, this one might be an absolute pain in the dick, and it may make you want to uninstall the game. Now, I'm sure you guys know of the Seeker tokens that you can find throughout the world, and this riddle requires you to return to the location where you found your first one, where you'll find a Finder's token instead of a Seeker token. Now, I had a bit of a Gandalf moment here, and I had genuinely no idea where my first one was. So don't stress if you're in the same boat as me. There are some workarounds to this, but I will just warn you, it could get very annoying. That being said, it is still very much worth doing. Now, there's 2 things you want to set up before you accept this riddle from here though. It is very important that you do these 2 steps before you accept the riddle, not after. Firstly, you want to make sure that your Trickster vocation is level 2 so that you can equip the detection augment. This will cause the Seeker tokens to blink as well as make a noise when you're near them, and this will work for the Finder's token too. Now, if you don't have the Trickster vocation, just check out this last video that I uploaded as I fully explained it there. It doesn't really take too long at all to get to level 2, and then just equip this augment on whichever vocation you want to play as. Honestly, without that augment, I wouldn't even bother doing this riddle. Secondly, now that you have passed those first 4 riddles, make another save at an inn by resting at one. This will kind of just update your backup save, and again, that is very important for this riddle specifically. The reason it's important is you only have 7 in-game days to do this riddle. So if you come back to her after that and you still haven't found it, or hell, if you find it on the 8th day and you bring it back, well, too late. The riddle is permanently failed and she literally flies away. You will never be able to finish this riddle if that happens. So yeah, make the save at the inn. If it comes to that, then you can just load the last save at an inn and you will pretty much reset those 7 days. If you don't save at an inn, then there is essentially no way to reset those 7 days because it will automatically save when you are just normally resting, or even just at certain points by auto-saving. Now, in terms of finding the actual token, well, I won't lie, it is not fun unless you guys are lucky enough to remember where you got it. Like I said, there is somewhat of a workaround to this, but unfortunately, it is still a grind. Now, in the description, I've linked this interactive map where you can find every single item in the game, and as you can see, it shows every single Seeker token. Now, realistically, your first one would have very likely been found up in this section of the map somewhere, or on the main path that leads from the Border Watch outpost to Vernworth, as those are just the earliest locations you visit in your playthrough. Obviously, it is going to be different for everyone. Some people might have just bloody gone to Batal in their first adventure, so unfortunately, I can't really help you all individually. All I can say is just use this interactive map to find each exact location, and then just try and retrace your steps and see if you can remember from there. Even if you're just going around to all of the ones in that location, you will eventually find it. Now, I had like 30 at this point, so I thought I was doomed, but I found it after about 45 minutes or so it is doable. Like I said, it seems very daunting, but it is doable. The only real tip I have is to just use the in-game waypoint markers to mark 5 possible locations, go and visit all of them, and if it's not any of those, just set another 5 waypoints and try again. Plus, another tip is just to try your best not to rest, as that'll obviously waste those 7 days. So you might even have to do some exploring at nighttime, which obviously isn't very fun. Anyway, once you find it, bring it back to the Sphinx and you will pass that final riddle. You'll be awarded with 3 fairy stones, and after that, she will fly away and you'll need to head to the second shrine to finish the final 5 trials. Now, before we go any further, if you guys are enjoying the video so far and it has helped you out, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. There is plenty more Dragon's Dogma 2 content on the way, so make sure you don't miss out. Now, like I said, from here, you need to head to the second shrine. It is worth mentioning, you probably want to grab your port crystal first, just because we're not really going to need to go back to that other shrine. And the second shrine is located on the hidden pathway to Batal. It eventually splits off into like 2 little paths, and it is just on the short shorter path that you can see here on the map, while the other one leads you into Batal. It is pretty straightforward really. There are only two places that I got stuck. One is in this little section where instead of continuing through this creek, you just actually need to climb up these rocks over on the right there. And then when you're in the misty section, it is kind of easy to get lost. There's a part where there's a boulder that's blocking your way, and you will just need to break that. That leads you pretty much right to the shrine. On top of that too, just keep in mind there are some tough enemies on the way, so be prepared for that. Now, as soon as you arrive at the second shrine, put a port crystal down, as you will need to travel in and out of here fairly regularly. It's also worth noting to save multiple times, and you can obviously update that in save at any chance that you get as well. Now, funnily enough, arriving here is actually the first riddle. So as soon as you talk to her, that sixth chest opens, and in there you'll find 100,000 gold, or actually a little bit more than that if you have the opulence augment on. So that is the easiest money you'll ever get. Now, the thing to note from here though is that the riddles are actually done in a random order for everyone. So I'll explain them in my order, but yours may be presented in a different order. Just be sure to keep that in mind. For my 7th riddle, I got the Riddle of Differentiation. So he presents you with this absolutely clapped looking bloke, and all you need to do is pay attention to his hair. There's only two options that she'll give you. One has curly hair, as you can see here, and one has straight hair. They're both pretty similar, so pay very close attention to whether the hair has any curls or not. From here, you'll once again need to head to the checkpoint rest town. This is where both of these guys are found, and you'll need to get the right one and bring them back to the Sphinx. So if you got the one with straight hair, he usually spawns right here as soon as you arrive in this area. If he doesn't spawn, just try resting and see if he spawns the next day. If you got the one with the curly hair, you'll need to head up to the top gate where you get through to Batal. Just head on through, and then outside the city walls, you'll see the other one chilling out there. Whichever one she asked you for, simply pick them up. You then want to go into your items and use a fairy stone and travel back to the port crystal that you placed down at the new shrine. Once you're there, just carry him to the altar, place him on the altar and talk to her, and you will pass the test, assuming you got the right one, obviously. This will open the next chest, which gives you a Daydreamer for the Trickster, which to be honest can probably go in the bin because that vocation is straight ass. Now, the next riddle I was presented with was the Riddle of Recollection. There are a heap of statues over on the left, and the key thing to note here is that your answer might be different to mine. You need to bring her the same amount of statues as the amount of tasks you have successfully completed. For me, it was 7. The easiest way to tell is the amount of chests that are open. So there was obviously 5 at the last shrine, and then because there are 2 open at this shrine, that means that I've passed 7. It might be more or less for you, but however many you've passed, just bring that many statues and drop them somewhere near her feet. Then speak to her, and if you did it right, you'll pass and you'll be awarded with an unmaking arrow. It's important to note, do not use this arrow. I'll touch on that later on in the video. The next riddle that I was given after that was the Riddle of Futility, and this requires you to bring this certain pot to a certain character in Batal. Now, that's the most logical way to do it at face value, but the thing is that pot is fragile. If you drop it, it'll break, and so funnily enough, we're going to bring the NPC to the pot instead. You want to head to Batal, and what I'll say is that while you're there, there's 2 important things to do. First, again, you want to save at the inn. Yes, it is 10,000 gold, but you just got a free 100,000, so it's absolutely worth it, especially for one of these upcoming riddles. And then secondly, you want to change to the Archer vocation. You're going to need that at the end, as it is very important to finish the whole quest. After you've done those, you want to head to Sir Moritz, who can be found here on the map. You will get a quest marker in game, so it is very easy to find. When you go up to him, he'll talk to you, but you can just skip it. You then want to pick him up, and same as we did with the other clapped looking bloke, we want to use another fairy stone to get back to the shrine. And just keep in mind, you'll need to step out from under the cover a little bit so that the fairy stone actually works. Now, once you're back, bring the NPC to the pot, not to the altar, and just drop him near the pot. This will finish the quest, and you will be awarded with an eternal bond, and this can be used to deepen your connection with whichever character you want. Now, lastly for me, I was given the Riddle of Contest. This one requires you to wear a ring that essentially removes all damage output, and then you've got to fight this NPC to the death. Well, it seems hard at first, but no. Literally just yeet the guy off the edge, and that's it. You've solved that riddle. Return to her, and she will award you with the Ring of Ambition. This gives you drastically more XP, so it is a very solid reward. So technically speaking, those are all 10 of the riddles, and technically at this point you have passed all of the riddles, but there's one riddle left, and that is actually to kill the Sphinx. The thing is though that she is near impossible to kill in any conventional way, as she actually flies off if you don't kill her almost immediately, and you can only deal damage to her wings wings and her hind legs. Anywhere else on her body is essentially immune to damage. Now, if you're game enough, you can try and kill her the conventional way, but trust me, I did this twice. I was about level 40 or something by the time I did this. I absolutely deleted her and it still wasn't enough. So there is an alternative that is guaranteed to kill her. Keep in mind, if you do try and kill her normally, if you fail, she will fly away and never come back, and you won't get the final prize, which is essentially what this whole thing is for. So if you're going to try that way, if she does fly off, you need to immediately dashboard and exit the game and then load that last in save and do it again. If that is the case, you're going to have to do those final 2 riddles as well, or even potentially more depending on how many you'd gotten at that point. Now, the guaranteed way of killing her though is that unmaking arrow that we got earlier. The unmaking arrow is essentially a guaranteed 1-hit kill on any enemy in the game, and obviously to use an arrow you need to use the archer vocation, which is why I said to switch to that earlier on in the video. A key thing to know here though is you want to shoot her in the wing. Do not shoot her in the head. That will result in the same action where she just flies off. You have to shoot her in the wing. It is essentially part of the riddle. So if you're using this arrow, again, shoot her in the wing. It is the only way to kill her. Once you've done that, she will die and the big gold chest will finally be unlocked, at which point you get an eternal wake stone, which is very handy for later on in the game. I'm not going to go into spoilers. Or if one of your pawns gets dragon plague and kills every single NPC in the game, then that is obviously very handy to have as well. But anyway, that is it for all 10 of the Sphinx riddles. It is a bit of a slog, but honestly, it's so much fun. The rewards are so worth it, and the fact that it is so easy to miss makes it all the more fun when you get to experience it, knowing that a lot of other people may have never even known this was here. If the video did help you guys out, be sure to hit that like button, and like I said earlier, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe with those notifications on. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.